Welcome to Out There, where we're visiting some of the hidden gems of Polk County. I'm your host, Jeremy Morady, and today we're visiting three special places: Loyce Harpe Park, Se7en Wetlands, and the Lakeland Highland Scrub. All right, we are out here with Derek Harpe, who's the Recreation Superintendent for Polk County at Loyce Harpe Park. And those names kind of sound pretty similar.
They're close, this park has been in existence a while now, but it was named after my father, who was the first Parks and Recreation Director of Polk County.
Okay, heard a lot of stories about them. So.
Yeah, most of them are true.
Well, tell us a little bit about the history being out here. I mean, everything that I knew of growing up, I mean, so much has changed out here. We knew it as Carter Road, park as kids, but I mean, there's been such a transformation, I know, with everything going on.
Yeah,
take us through that a little bit.
This is like I said, it's been around a while. This is old reclaimed phosphate mine, right? So, like a lot of property is around this Mulberry South Lakeland area, and it was a heck of a job developing this place. God, now it has to be close to 30 years ago. Started off with the soccer fields and the baseball, softball complex. Really were the keys to this park. Added a couple playgrounds over the years. A senior ball field has come in for senior baseball. The mountain bike trails came in, which are some of the best around this area. They're really good.
Oh yeah.
We're in double digits in miles of trails now. We just keep adding things as we can. A big pavilion was added recently, which has been missing from this place for a long time, and it's very popular. Family reunions, picnics, things like that. So it's a big screened-in pavilion. So we add things and try to keep up. We have a master plan we keep, addressing every 5 to 7 years to kind of update it. And we have a lot of things left to do. And hopefully in the next few years we'll be able to address some of those needs as well.
Well, with those trends, I know things have changed over the years. What have you been seeing more as a demand as Polk County's population grows and becomes more diverse?
You know what? Sports are changing. When I got here, youth sports, but football and baseball king, right? That was it. Soccer has grown over the years, but soccer's kind of hit that same plateau that baseball and football did, where growth is, yearly. When the Olympics, World Cup come around, then we'll see a spike in growth for that. But what I've seen is lacrosse has come in. We got cricket on our fields now, which 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we had never thought about coming in, but we're accommodating a lot of different sports and a lot of different activities. Nature trails we've done for a long time, but people keep wanting walking trails and exercise stations and things like that, which is great. But those are kind of things we've seen as far as the changes over the last 10 to 20. I've been here 20 years, so the 20 years I've been here.
Well, now one of the newest additions that isn't the county, but it's there's a partnership there with the city. Now kind of joins two county properties. This is a fairly new situation, I guess, that we've found ourselves in, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've done joint projects in the past with different cities. This park, Harpe Park, is actually in the city of Mulberry. It was annexed years ago, but county supports this. But we have a lot of city visitors here. But doing the new property, the Se7en Wetlands, between us and the Highland Scrub is great, right? I mean, we work great with the city of Lakeland and most of our municipal partners. So be able to do that, and the parking is actually on our property, so you can enter into the wetlands. But it's wonderful. You get to go out, and it's more walking trails. It's more nature. You get out there. It's kind of ties into what we do now that we're Parks and Recreation is now part of Parks and Natural Resources. Circle B and Highland Scrub and a bunch of other places are part of us now. So we work together on all that thing. So the city of Lakeland's a natural fit. We do a lot with them anyway, and we try to support each other, and they're great people too over there. I worked for them 25 years ago, so great friends over there anyway. But it's fun to do things that's going to affect people's lives, that we can stretch our dollars a little bit and help each other out, and allowing them to do the parking over on our side so people could enter and enjoy that park over there is a natural fit.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for kind of giving us that overview, and I want to get into talking a little bit with one of our guys about how all this kind of came together and planning it out.
Yeah, Tracy's a wonderful resource, and he'll be able to tie in all the rest of it, so it'll be good.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we're here with the guy who gets things done around here for the Parks and Natural Resources Division, Tracy Mullins, who's one of our very talented planners, kind of helps all of this come together and really gets people motivated. So talk to us a little bit, if you can, about the things that you've done here through the master plan process, putting in the disc golf course, and some of these other things that have kind of come around the last few years.
Well, we're just going through the master planning process for the whole of Polk counties, and that's all of the parks, all the recreation facilities. And because we've just become part of the Parks and Natural Resources Division, we've added the preserves, and so it's a Parks, Recreation, Preserves master plan. Now, when I do a master plan, I like to have a project to go with it to get the public involved. And to do the master plan, we started with focus groups, and then we had public meetings, and then we had an online survey. And one of the things that popped up was disc golf. People like to play disc golf in Polk County. We really didn't have any facilities. On the master plan for this park, it had been noted that we would put in a disc golf course. So what I did is I got a hold of members of the disc golf community, and we had a 3-day planning charrette. A charrette is a 3-day planning meeting where everybody gets together. We got out the aerial photographs, the maps, colored pencils, and we had the disc golfers themselves do the design as opposed to bringing in an engineering firm to do the design. These guys designed it. Then we came out here to the park and we walked the property, and over 2 or 3 weekends we decided exactly what we were going to do. And the design changed 3 or 4 times. Initially it was going to be farther to the west in the park, and now it's more concentrated in this area. And we had 90% of the work done. It was designed by volunteers. The clearing and all the work was done by volunteers. The Parks and Recreation construction crew came out and they blazed some of the trails with some trail making equipment we have, but the volunteers did the rest of it, and they basically do the maintenance, run the tournaments and all that sort of thing. So it's a very very public driven design process.
Now, we're out here on this backside of the park near the mountain bike trailheads and the disc golf course, but that also is the entrance into Se7en Wetlands that you've also had a hand in and working with the city of Lakeland. Tell us a little bit about how Loyce Harpe plays into and kind of complements what's going on at Se7en Wetlands.
Well, we moved, of course, we used to look at parks as an individual park, and now we look at a system of parks. So we've included, of course, the preserves, which are part of the Natural Lands program. So we have to the east, we have the Highlands scrub, we have Loyce Harpe Park, and to the south, we have Mulberry Park. So eventually you'll be able to get you'll be able to get into the Se7en Wetlands from 3 different county parks. That'll be your entrance points. The city of Lakeland came to us. We started working with them when we looked at what we could do to complement their facilities. For them to run water and light and power into the wetlands was an expensive proposition, and as the folks were going to have to enter through the Loyce Harpe Park or the Se7en Wetlands, it just made sense for us to partner. We would put the washroom on our side, so they didn't have to have as much staffing on that side, so it's a sort of a standalone, and not having as much staff having to work doing double duty basically.
Sure.
We're as a group trying to save money for the public. So we have the washroom there here, the trailhead here, the parking here. It just made sense to do. We worked with them dealing with gopher tortoises. A lot of what we did with the disc golf course here improved the property for gopher tortoises. We have an invasive grass here called Kogan grass. It's very hard for gopher tortoises to travel through, and they can't eat it. It's got too much silicon in it. So by putting the disc golf trails through, we have basically trails that the gopher tortoises can travel to find different areas to eat at.
Okay.
And it gets rid of a lot of the Kogan grass. Again, with the Se7en Wetlands, they cleared a lot of Kogan grass out and relocated gopher tortoises, so we have a better population of gopher tortoises on both sides of the fence, and we got rid of a lot of invasive species. So as far as the environmental side of things, our environmental folks were working with their environmental folks to improve the environment for native species here and to get rid of some of the invasive. So it helps all the way around. If you have two properties adjacent to each other, one has good invasive species management and the other doesn't, it just keeps coming over and it makes more work for everybody. This way we've jointly dealt with a lot of the invasive species problems we have, and we've created better habitat for native species here in Florida. And great stuff for bird watching and any kind of wildlife critters. There's lots of fun stuff to watch out here. If you have kids and they like wildlife, this is a place to be.
This is the time of year to do it too. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I mean, just looking out behind us, the scene is incredible that you guys have designed. It's fantastic, and so thanks for taking the time with us to go over everything.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, we're out here now with Julie Vogel, who is with the City of Lakeland, and we're out at Se7en Wetlands, just a stone's throw really from Loyce Harpe. And you guys are fairly new as far as being open to the public, but you've actually been here quite a while.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how things have transpired here recently to put you guys on the map.
Yeah, so we've been a water utility for the City of Lakeland for more than 30 years. And it was only recently in 2018, earlier this year, that we opened as a new public park. So we are now allowing folks to come in through either one of our two entrances, Loyce Harpe Park or Lakeland Highland Scrub, and visit Se7en Wetlands. We will have more than 22 miles of trails just within our own park here, not including the connectivity now between Loyce Harpe Park and Lakeland Highland Scrub. So you could connect all three parks together. Plenty of time to get lost in all kinds of trails and nature. We've been driving through today that, you've been taking us on a tour here. This is my first time being out here, and it's just gorgeous. I had no idea, you have our other two properties with Polk County, and now we have you guys in partnership. Tell us how this kind of flows together. I know we came out of Loyce Harpe. We're right here at the edge of the Lakeland Highland Scrub, which I'm familiar with. How does it flow together? Because you guys also kind of dip a little bit further south. We do. So the water utility Se7en Wetlands, behind us there is a waterfall. That is where all of the treated wastewater from the City of Lakeland comes into Se7en Wetlands to be treated again before it leaves south to the Alafaya River, which is Tampa Bay watershed, or Tampa Electric Company uses our water to cool their cooling towers at their power plant. So that's kind of the water utility side. But now that we're a park and we're letting folks come in, we connect the two distinct parks together. So people can come in, park their car at Loyce Harpe Park, come in through the gate, check out the wetland, which is really awesome and a unique place, and then venture on through Lakeland Highland Scrub. And then that's not the end of it. Eventually we want to connect to Mulberry Park to the south. So our borders for Se7en Wetlands are basically Highway 60 to the south, all the way up to Loyce Harpe Park to the north.
So now, coming out of Loyce Harpe, we saw some folks and talked to them that were fairly new, but there's some pretty immediate places you could go that, aren't too far off the beaten path, because I don't want people to get too,
22 miles
22
plus
miles, I don't want them to
hiking
get scared off. But just to get a feel for it, it's just a few minutes in either direction. Can you tell us a little bit about that for folks that might not know and coming out for the first time?
Yeah, so we do. If you're going to come out for the very first time, I would recommend putting the map on your phone. So we are not giving away park maps, but what you can do is go to our website. It's City of Lakeland Se7en Wetlands website, and click on the map, and that'll put the map on your phone. And if you enable your location, it'll track you within the wetland. And I suggest
Parking at Loyce Harpe Park, there's restrooms right there. The gate, you just come in the gate and head south towards wetland number 5. That will get you through lots of different habitats, so some wetland environments, some uplands, and it'll eventually lead you to a boardwalk that's outside on cell 5, so you can walk on the boardwalk that goes out onto the water, and if you're lucky, you might see a 14-foot alligator, like we did earlier today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're out there.
And
Loving this time of year too.
That's about a mile one way, so a mile down and a mile back. It's not too bad.
No, not at all. But and then okay, so heading in the other direction down to where we've made it to now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so again, you can come in through Loyce Harpe Park, and if you head east, you'll pass Eagle Brook neighborhood, which is a pretty large neighborhood. We've been their great neighbors for a while now. And if you keep heading, east, you'll come to our influent waterfall. And there's an amazing picnic pavilion back here. Again, it's restrooms and water fountains, so you could even bring your lunch. And that's about a mile and a half. Or you could come walk through Lakeland, Highlands scrub, same thing. Come into Se7en Wetlands and enjoy the picnic pavilion and the amenities before you head back.
Yeah, and that's not a bad hike either.
Not a bad
just
hike.
Coming out of the scrub here,
Yeah,
then back over to Loyce
it's
Harpe.
very
that's
doable.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, bring your binoculars and,
Oh,
and
definitely.
camera.
Yep. This is the time of year for it too, when wildlife comes out, especially onto the trails to sun themselves and
Yes.
get warm from that cold water.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about too. I mean, even though this is so new, you've got so much here already. What's in the future?
We do have a master plan for Se7en Wetlands that includes a couple things. We want to open the rest of the trails. So right now, only wetlands 1 and 2 are open to the public. That's about 8.5 miles of trails. When the master plan is complete, it'll be more than 22 miles of hiking trails. We would like to build a tower, like an overlook observation tower. Thank you. Where you can climb up a couple more stories and get a great bird's eye view of the surrounding environment. And the big one is our environmental education center. So we would love to have a building, again, for the outreach component to our water utility side of things, just to let people know, again, how amazing this place is and why we're here. The primary reason for Se7en Wetlands to exist is to treat wastewater, essentially. So big plans. We do have the master plan. We need funding to get it completed.
Oh yeah.
As is
Always
many other
important,
projects. Yep. So it'll happen. We're just kind of getting there slowly, maybe.
Sure. Well, you guys have already accomplished quite a
We
bit.
have.
So.
And I will put a plug out there. Se7en Wetlands has won a couple environmental excellence awards for 2018, one of them being the Public Involvement Award from the National Association of Environmental Professionals. We just found that out, and that's pretty cool. It just goes to show, again, that this place is unlike any other for its history, its utility side, and the outreach component to things too. So we're doing good. Pat on the back.
Congratulations, yes. And so, if you can here, I'm going to interrupt the flow of things.
Yeah.
I don't want folks to get, when they hear treated wastewater, things like that, that you're kind of trudging through a wastewater treatment facility of raw sewage coming in.
No.
It's not that at all.
No.
Kind of take us through how these wetlands work and taking out, where's this coming from? Where's it going to? You have Se7en Wetlands, kind of the flow of things, if you can. So folks understand this, what it is they're looking at. I mean, these are kind of almost natural lakes of sort that they can, visually see.
Right. So even though we are a wastewater utility, you would never know that unless somebody like me told you that. If you came out here for the first time and you had never been here before, you would think this is a beautiful place that has been like this forever. let me get my camera because I want to take pictures of all the birds and the critters that I see. So it's, you know, as far probably from typical wastewater that people are associated. You know, you think about wastewater, you don't think of a place like this, and that's one of the things that we want to change. We are, again, it's a really neat, unique place, and one of the reasons is because it's a wastewater treatment facility that you would never know by looking at it, and that goes to nature doing this job for us. So sometimes wetlands are called nature's kidneys. They do the same thing for nature that your kidneys do for you. So they remove the pollutants and the excess nutrients and all the bad stuff and make plants grow. And that's basically how the wetlands work. So it's just letting nature, the plants and the microbes and the beneficial bacteria absorb excess nutrients like nitrogen out of the water column before it gets sent downstream. And Se7en Wetlands water connects to the Alafaya River, which is the Tampa Bay watershed. So removing nitrogen from the Tampa Bay watershed is vitally important, not just for us locally, but for regionally and statewide too. There's lots of stuff going on in the news right now about nitrogen impacts. So anything that the wetland does, you know, to remove nitrogen is very helpful to our environment.
Well, there, and I mean, you know, at the mouth of the Alafaya is a vital component. The estuary system of, you know, Tampa Bay is right there. I mean, that's where everything's kind of the nursery of, you know, the biological life that, you know, happens there. So it's very delicate to not interrupt that balance.
Exactly.
So where does this water come from?
This water, again, it's treated wastewater from the city of Lakeland. So the pipe that brings the water into our waterfall comes mostly from the Glendale wastewater treatment facility, and it goes through a lot of processes to kind of clean it up before it gets to us. Again, this is the final polishing for wastewater, so it's like the last stage in wastewater treatment. If Se7en Wetlands was not here and we had to maybe update, say, Glendale or a more traditional wastewater treatment facility, it would cost millions of dollars to do so, and we would, one, have to pay for that, and two, we would lose 1,600 acres that is this place that will not be developed upon for the future. So pretty big impact.
It was a great recreational area too.
For sure.
So, well, this is absolutely wonderful. Now, thank you for taking us through here and showing us around today.
You're so welcome.
And kind of meandering our way on through now to the Lakeland Highland Scrub.
Awesome. Thank you so much for visiting.
All right, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Well, now we're in our third and final stage in our trip through South Lakeland area. First, you know, we hit up Loyce Harpe Park, then Se7en Wetlands, and now we're out here at the Lakeland Highland Scrub, which is a beautiful, beautiful area if you've never been out here before. And I'm here with Candace Nathi, who's one of our folks at Environmental Lands, and tell us a little bit about how all this kind of came about. I mean, we've got just a huge swath of land here, significantly different than, you know, what we've seen in the other two areas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Lakeland Highland Scrub is 551 acres in size, and it's really conserved to protect the natural resources here. We have a lot of different types of wildlife, plants, and also diverse habitats. So it's really conserved to protect the natural resources here. In terms of recreation, there are over 3.7 miles of trails, so it's really great for hiking, it's great for nature photography, and just wildlife viewing in general.
Well, I know it's beautiful to get out here and hike, really easy, flat trails. Also kind of seeing this white sand here, it kind of reminds me of being out on the beach. But that's particular to out here, isn't it?
Yeah, so Lakeland Highland Scrub is really special in that it sits on the Lakeland Ridge. So right now we're sitting at about 230 feet above sea level. And this site
doesn't seem that high.
It doesn't seem that high, but this place is really special in that it's the last it's the largest undeveloped scrub property that's left on the Lakeland Ridge. So it really gives you a snapshot of what this area used to look like before it was developed. So I talked about some of the different habitats we have. We have marsh, we have some pine flatwoods and some hammocks, but this place is really known for its scrubby flatwoods and its scrub habitat, which is an ancient ecosystem that's endangered.
And it's also one of our favorite little critters, gopher tortoise.
Yes, gopher tortoise. We have a good population of gopher tortoise here. We also have eastern indigo snake that use our upland systems.
Oh, and they're very, very pretty.
Yeah, they're very rare.
Now, this ties in with everything that we've seen before, really kind of just behind us with Se7en Wetlands. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about how, that came about and, tying this whole big area together?
Yeah, we have, in addition to the many miles of trails, there's a connector trail that leads from Lakeland Highland Scrub to the Se7en Wetlands. So people who are using the trails here have the ability to access the many other miles of trails with the city of Lakeland and their Se7en Wetlands trails on that side.
Okay. Now, also out here, it's a little bit different management. And right now we're standing here among the palmettos. They look a little bit burned. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do to maintain that.
Yes, so we use prescribed fire to maintain and enhance many of the different types of ecosystem, like scrub that you see here. So prescribed fire and fire used to actually play a larger role. Naturally occurring ones during the lightning season help form and maintain a lot of these ecosystems that are fire adapted. So we come in and do prescribed fire to keep the vegetation height down and keep the structure and the height of the scrub to where the plants and animals can actually live here. So this area was actually burned a few months ago. As you can see, a lot of the plants have already started to regrow and come back. There are many new plants coming up. Saw palmettos already resprouting and regrowing. So it really helps open up the landscape. It helps keep the trees, the density down, keeps it nice and open, the shrub height low, and has these like nice open areas for the gopher tortoise that they need to forage and bask and kind of just maintain their habitat here.
Well, and it doesn't really look like it takes a whole lot of time for things to rebound. I mean, you said it was a few months ago, right?
Yeah, just a few months ago.
I mean, here we've got, these look fully formed fronds here on the palmettos. Does it really not take a whole lot for it to come back? No,
many of the plants here are adapted to the scrub. So they are adapted to very little water, a lot of sun, and they're adapted to fire. So they can resprout pretty quickly. Okay. Within days, some of these species can within a fire. All right.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us about this, and I think we want to take a little look around.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us as we toured around Loyce Harpe Park, Se7en Wetlands, and Lakeland Highland Scrub. Make sure you tune in next month when we're out there.